For joining us today. I'm Sophia with Garden State Film Festival, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Joe Quesada today. He is the director and writer of the short film Fly. Joe, how are you doing?
Doing great, Sophia. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak to me today, and congratulations on your acceptance to Garden State Film Festival.
Uh, well, thank you first of all, and let me tell you, I'm very honored to have been selected. I've heard great things about the festival, and when I submitted, I'm like, oh, I hope I get into this one. As a born and bred New Yorker, me and Jersey, we have a strained relationship, but I have plenty
Yeah.
of friends
Yeah,
in Jersey.
like distant friends just staring at each other over the waters there.
No, I love Jersey. I love Jersey
Oh
Festival.
man.
A lot of
Well, I'm
time.
so I'm so honored that Garden State Film Festival was on your radar because Fly is such a wonderful, beautiful short film, and I'm really
Well,
excited
thank
for
you.
audiences to check it out.
Mhm.
So let's get it started by telling everybody a little bit about Fly.
Fly, or as I like to call it, the world's most expensive home movie, really sort of started out that way. It's an idea I've had for a very, very long time. For those who don't know, I had a long career at Marvel Entertainment, and several years ago, I just had this idea for a short story, and I was thinking, well, I'd like to film this. I'd like to do it as a short film, but I have a day job. So, in a lunch conversation with a friend of mine, I talked to him about the story. He's like, "That's awesome." He's like, "Just do it, just do it, just do it." Still didn't have the time, and then COVID. And so with COVID, working remotely, I found myself sort of stuck in place, but also needing to get out and do some stuff. And literally, it was like, hey kids, I got a barn. Let's put on a show. And that's kind of what we did. We just filmed Fly, and filmed it with only a few friends who had any experience in film movie making, or had even set foot on a sound stage or on a set of a movie. I just hired a lot of friends who had some skills and wanted to do it. And all the performers, no one had ever really been on camera, with the exception of Scott Irvine, who plays the dad. He had a stunt. He was a professional figure skater, and he had a stunt that he performed in Blades of Glory. So you sort of see him from the back. But I was really proud of everybody involved, and it was just so much fun. Working with friends of mine, and also just kind of training people up to the positions that we needed them to do. Whether it was makeup and some background work, and well, you name it. It was truly a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Wow, that's amazing. And I'm so floored to hear that not a lot of people had experience on
No,
camera because they were
no.
very talented and organic. And I wanted to know how you found the cast. So you talked about the father a little bit, but those two
Yeah.
actresses that play the sisters, the chemistry was beautiful. How did you find them?
Well, the lead actress lead actress was easy for me to discover. She's my daughter, and the
Oh, wow.
yes, and the interesting thing about this, I was really nervous about doing this because I didn't. She has no aspirations to be an actress, or at least she didn't at that point, and and but this was all about me. I wanted to get my directing chops in and do something that I felt really deeply about doing. And so I was really, really nervous about putting her in the movie because I felt that people would read it and say, "Oh, he just wrote this movie because his daughter wants to be an actress, so he's going to create a vehicle for her." And it was exactly the opposite. She was helping me out because it was a vehicle for me as a director to try to get the story out.
Mm.
So the long and short of it, was I had her. She was easy to cast. She's also cheap. Um, and 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 so and she had the skills that I needed because it was a story about a girl who's a figure skater, and a lot of the story is a little bit of her, a little bit of me, a little bit of my family, and then Kenley, who plays her younger sister, is the younger sister of my daughter's best friend. So I kind of wrote the part around her, and Scott, who plays her dad. who is also in the movie. He is the manager of the ice rink. Scott is the manager of the ice rink here.
Oh, wow.
So that's why he was able to legally drive this pony in the movie. But he was integral in everything. I mean, he built props for us. He got us ice time. He helped us create. When we did some of the low angle skating shots, we didn't really
Mhm.
have any sort of tech to do those. So Scott worked up a bunch of different rigs for us, and we ended up doing something very simple, which was just Ben Garst, my cinematographer, was sat on a plastic picnic table, a small one, and we had two of our stunt coordinator ice skaters push him along on this plastic picnic table. It's very funny to watch. And then Emily Todd, who played one of the best friends. She we didn't know her at first. She actually came from a modeling agency, a local modeling agency, and she was just wonderful. And Angela Wang is a professional figure skater who's also my daughter's best friend. And so it was just a family production, and everybody just kind of knocked it out of the park.
That's brilliant. And was the inspiration for writing this and, making the character be a figure skater, was that inspired by your daughter having
The
that
figure,
talent?
yeah, the figure skater was definitely inspired by my daughter, but also the people that coached her, because she's had some wonderful coaches over the years, and some are Olympic champions, but it came out of there are times where I will do at conventions or functions. I'll do panels or Q&As, or I'll be talking to younger creators just about what it takes to become successful. And I took these lessons from my daughter, and then just sort of used the nomenclature of figure skating, in the sense that one of the things that I try to really instill on people is that you have to learn how to fall properly. And by that, translation, you have to learn how to fail properly. And because figure skaters, that's what they do, right? They fall a lot. So how do you fall a lot and not hurt yourself? And how do you fall a lot and get something out of that fall? So you have to learn how to fall, first of all, so that you don't break a bone, you don't injure yourself. But this doesn't mean that you should expect the fall. But when the fall happens, what do you take with you out of that fall? And how does it make the next jump a little bit better?
Mm,
Because I see figure skaters fall hundreds. I saw my daughter do it hundreds and thousands of times, all in order to be able to land that one jump when it counts, which is in competition. So that's really kind of where the basis, the bedrock of the story started. And then it grew from there. To having our protagonist, want one thing, and then discovering the reality of, well, without spoiling it, about the reality of not getting it or getting it.
right.
What are the outcomes, of what does that mean? So I try to put all those things into the movie. I hope it succeeds. I hope people like it. But it was just, and also the other part of it is that I come from a world that is very bombastic, right? It's superheroes, it's superpowers, it's
Mhm,
people, you know, doing extraordinary things, and I really didn't want to do that as my first
mhm,
sort of personal film. I wanted to just show that I could tell a story,
right.
and my love of O. Henry stories that always have a twist. So uh, I lost track of your question, but I hope I answered.
You answered it and more. I love all of that. It's really great just hearing where your headspace was and what the inspirations for writing this story is. And I love it because you mentioned that, you came from this bombastic culture with all these superheroes and this was very different. What would you say, was most important when directing a story like this?
Was just making sure that it was, number one, clear, right? Because there are a few things that happen near the end where you go, huh, that was rather meta, right?
Mhm.
And so it's clarity, and just trying to get the character's emotions right. Try to simplify so that it's not drowning in in dialogue, and whatever dialogue is there, if it could be subtextual as opposed to on the nose. There were a lot of things that I was trying to accomplish that I learned. I don't know if I accomplished them all, but just really it was about uh, if and this is true about superheroes, whether they are comic or in screen. The superpowered stuff is really not important. The truth of the matter is, if you fall in love with the person inside that costume, if you you know if even if you don't relate with them 100%, if you understand them, right? So if there's, whether it's Tony Stark or Peter Parker, if you really can relate to them as a person, then when they put on that costume, you're in that world with them, and you want them to succeed, right? Because that could be you, or that could be your best friend. So it's the same thing here. I mean, it's like with any movie making. If you don't like the protagonist, if you don't or dislike the protagonist in a way that at least is compelling enough for you to follow, then there's really no reason to watch it. So that was my hope, because I mean, at the end of the day, Maria, the main character in this, she is an unreliable narrator. But so how do you take someone like that and at least not make them dislikable, and make them likable in the sense that you kind of know it's a tall tale, and she's telling you a tall tale. So that's what I was trying to accomplish. Whether I did or not, that'll depend on people watching it.
Right. I know this is totally subjective, but I think you definitely accomplished that, because I completely connected and related to her, and I felt none of it was forceful. It was very organic. So
Well, thank you.
props to her and everyone involved in that. You talked earlier about how to be successful. Like, what is the key to success? And you've obviously reached a lot of success in your career. So what advice can you give some other filmmakers or people who want to dabble in the same career field that you have?
It's the same advice I give everybody, regardless of what they want to do, right? What discipline it is that they want to do, or what they want to achieve in their life. Because, first of all, success is subjective, right? What I deem as successful for me may be completely different for someone else.
Right.
So, but regardless of it, I'll use the example of, let's say you want to be a screenwriter, you want to be a writer. But by the way, fill this in with director, artist, storyboard, whatever it may be.
Universal advice.
Yeah. So the thing you have to do, if you want to be a writer, you have to write every day. I know it sounds cliche, but you have to write every day. If you wanted to, I wanted to be a professional baseball player when I was a kid, and so the dedication that it takes to do that is you have to be on the field every day. You have to be shagging grounders and shagging flies. You have to be at the batting cage. I was just recently watching a short documentary on Pistol Pete Maravich, the great basketball player, and how as a kid he was spending 12 hours after school, 12 hours in the gym playing basketball. And you have to do it every day. And it's the same thing with writing. You have to use those creative muscles every day, even if it's just writing in a journal. But if you don't write every day, you're not a writer. You can't be a writer. You have to exercise those muscles, because you incrementally build upon the stuff that you did before. And the writing doesn't have to be anything that anyone sees. It's the same thing if I'm drawing something. For every drawing that I think is decent or respectable, there is a garbage can filled with all the rejected sketches that I did to get to that one point. So I make it a point in my life, I write every day, I draw every day. Every time I get a chance to film something, I'm filming it, or I'm thinking about directing something. So you have to do it. You have to do it. There is no substitute for that. And
Right.
it's probably even more important than being immensely talented, because I know immensely talented people who don't do the thing that they're talented at, and then they find that they didn't get the results that they wanted for what they consider success.
I love that. Flex that muscle every day. So we're running on like the last 2 minutes. So I really want to ask you about the location and the person who shot your film, because it is just breathtaking. Where did you shoot Fly?
We shot in Idaho, Sun Valley, Idaho, and it was Ben Garst, who is a magnificent. By the way, Ben edited the movie too. He's a magnificent cinematographer, cameraman. I met him on a show that I was filming for Marvel called Storyboards, and we just hit it off. And I just loved his attitude, the whole thing. And then I remember one night we had finished all the episodes we were doing, and I just said, I got an idea for a short movie. He's like, I'm in. I'm like, okay.
Oh man.
That's simple enough. So we've developed a really great working relationship. And he's just a good guy. And by the way, he's threatening to come to the festival, so I'm going to have him.
Yes, Ben, if you're
Uh,
watching, yes, please. I would love to meet you both in person. And
um,
speaking about storyboards, did you guys storyboard this? Was it very pre-planned, or were any of those shots just on the fly?
I storyboarded every inch of this film,
Wow.
probably to a fault. So, but a lot of the stuff, the drone footage and things that we did, that was all in there. It was all, pretty much as storyboarded and then as scripted, which again I think saved us a lot of time. And I happen to be, a little OCD about that kind of stuff. So, we would do stuff as it was storyboarded, and then we, shoot it a couple of times. Let's just see what happens, kind of thing, right? Let the actors perform. And we got. So, but it's pretty close. If I showed you the actual storyboards, you go, oh wow, that's almost shot for shot.
Wow. Well, again, congratulations to you and
Thank you.
everyone involved. You made such a beautiful film, and I'm really excited for our audiences at Garden State Film Festival to see it. And so happy that you and maybe Ben and maybe your daughter, who else is coming to the festival?
My daughter's going to be there, and
Wow.
I know Ben's going to be there. I think my producer will be there. That's
So
my wife.
awesome.
And,
Oh man, we got the whole everybody's coming out.
yeah, but more importantly, I think also Graham Alexander, who's a local Jersey musician who wrote the song during the skating sequence. He's threatened to be there. But more importantly, if I'm looking forward to seeing anybody there, meeting new friends, meeting new talents, and having a blast, and hopefully seeing you.
Me too. I'm definitely going to try to come to this film block. Let me tell everyone how they can see it. It will be playing Saturday, March 25th at the Berkeley Hotel in the Kingsley Ballroom in the film block, 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. So definitely come check out this gorgeous film and meet the cast and crew and Joe himself. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thanks, Sophia. Really appreciate it. And thank you to the Garden State Film Festival. I'm really, really, really thrilled and honored.
Me too. I can't wait to meet you there. See you at the festival, Joe.
Bye.
Thank you.